I've been asked fairly regularly, isn't it hard to teach or learn singing on Zoom? After 2 years of experimentation, I can honestly say that if you keep your auto settings on, yes. The default settings and no external equipment are fine when you're in a setting where you're just talking to people, but you will experience all sorts of weird sound issues the moment music comes into the equation. You may find that your voice becomes distorted when you sing, things freeze, or your high notes cut out even when you're not singing particularly loud. But the good news is that all of these things are so simple to fix. These include ticking and unticking some boxes in your Zoom settings, which is an immediate and free way of dramatically improving your Zoom sound. And if you can incorporate simple external equipment that you may have just already laying around your house. But even if you did need to purchase everything from scratch, it would cost you less than the price of a 1-hour singing lesson. So your sound can go from this to this. Hello lovely ones, this is Livia. I'm a professional operatic soprano, voice teacher, and the founder of Singing for Self-Care. If you like health and heart-based singing, I highly suggest you subscribe because I'm here for you every Monday with tips on your most powerful method of self-care, your voice. Because remember, you and your voice are practically magic. Guys, this pandemic has lasted almost 2 years now. And if you've been putting lessons off this long because you think Zoom is no good, it may be time for you to adapt. It's very easy to get quite good sound on Zoom. Worldwide, there are fantastic masterclasses, seminars, and workshops going on, and it would be a real shame to cut yourself off from those opportunities. This video guide will be split up into 3 sections. Section 1 is changing a few settings, which you can do right now and is totally free. Section 2 is utilizing simple and cheap external equipment. And Section 3 are some further investments that you can think about if you're already a serious musician. So here we are in the Zoom settings. You'll be able to find this very easily when you open up the program. The little settings icon is in the top right hand corner. We'll bring you to this window. We want to go down to audio. So the speaker, this is going to be either your laptop speakers, or hopefully if you have headphones, you'll choose your headphones here and you can adjust the sound accordingly. Now, what's important for us? Microphone. So here you'll either have your laptop microphone or you'll have your external microphone selected. Now, first things first, you want to make sure that this box here, automatically adjust microphone volume, is switched off. We want to manually be able to change the volume to our microphone. Now, typically you want to have your sound around 75% or so. That's nice and clear without it kind of overshooting the mark and getting distorted. You may see right now that mine is actually quite low. The reason why that is because when I'm teaching, I usually might sing a few phrases back to a student. And the thing is, singing is obviously significantly louder than speaking, especially being a dramatic soprano. Microphones tend to hate me, so I turn mine down nice and low just to make sure that both extremes are caught through the microphone. So have a play around with that and just see when you're singing and when you're speaking where the best place for it to be is in terms of the volume. But that's something you do manually. Now, a very common problem people have with Zoom is they'll find that the high notes start cutting off. And the reason why that is because the setting is probably on auto. So auto is fantastic for work meetings and things like that, with getting rid of any excess noise happening in the background. Now, Zoom isn't expecting you to burst out into song during a work meeting. It may think someone's turned the radio on or something like that. So it is actually going to try and get rid of those sounds, even though it's you sounding awesome. There's no off option, but we're going to put it to low, and that does a pretty good job. And all of a sudden, all your high notes will be back like magic. Next up, you are going to click the box to show in meeting option to enable original sound if you have an external microphone set up, because when you click this on, all of these settings are going to be enabled with your lovely microphone. And when you do click on this, you'll find that a few other options come up. High fidelity music mode is really great to have switched on, as it does improve the quality quite a lot. However, it does take up a lot of internet bandwidth, so make sure that you have a really stable connection if you're going to go with this option. Echo cancellation, I'm a little bit on the fence about. Sometimes I have it on, sometimes I have it off. I tend to wear headphones when I'm teaching, so it doesn't have too much of an impact, but have a play around with it yourself and see if you find there's a bit of a difference in your own setup when you're using it. So yeah, those are the main settings. You want to make sure that if you have a microphone, you have your original sound on. You want suppress background noise on low, and you want to be manually adjusting your microphone volume. Now this is the level I would recommend if you are in the position to make some small investments which will greatly improve your Zoom sound experience. There are only 3 things that you need, and all of them can be found for very reasonable prices on Amazon. So even with low and medium price range electronics, you will experience quite an improvement. So first up is an Ethernet cable. So remember back to high fidelity music mode in level 1? Now the only downside to this is that it requires a strong internet connection. So unless your Wi-Fi is super fast, an easy solution is to connect your computer directly with an Ethernet cable. You can purchase these for around $10 or $15. Now the next thing we have is headphones. If you're a singing teacher yourself, investing in some high quality headphones is certainly useful when listening to your students. If you're a student, however, most of what you'll be listening to is speech. So if you don't want to splash out on fancy headphones, that's totally okay. It is recommended that you do use headphones, however, even if they are cheapies, because the sound coming through the computer speakers, it's going to be picked up by your microphone and it can interfere with things. You can pick up a cheap pair of headphones for as little as $20. Lastly, we have USB microphones. So USB mics are incredibly simple to use and they plug straight into your computer. Using a mic is one of the biggest changes you will see when it comes to your sound quality. Now, why is that? The microphone in your computer is really tiny, so it can actually fit inside. And because it's so small, it is very limited. And in order to help the voice cut through, it needs to boost some kind of mid-level frequencies, and it can kind of distort the voice a bit. Also, because the microphone is hidden away near your keyboard or your webcam, it is going to be far away from your mouth, but it still needs to pick up on your voice. So what it does, it's called an omnidirectional microphone, and that means that it picks up sound from everywhere. It does mean that it is going to capture a lot of excess noise along with your voice. So when you use an external microphone, it bypasses these issues. Not to mention, you're going to have more control over the mic settings should you wish to further tweak your setup. You can purchase a very decent USB mic for as little as $50, or alternatively, Blue Yeti is a really popular option. You may have heard of it before, and that's around $100. If you're using Zoom for music lessons on a regular basis, and you're also interested in recording your vocals or using a mic for live performance, you may be at a point where you want to consider investing in a higher quality microphone. So these are the ones that usually connect with an XLR, which are the 3 little prongs, so not a USB. And this you have to use in combination with either a digital audio interface or a mixer. Whilst this is definitely a more expensive and complicated option, you will be able to get the highest quality sound possible. But more importantly, you have other resources to help you in other areas of your singing. So whether you be wanting to record some songs in a home studio or if you're out gigging. So me personally, I use the Rode NT1A microphone with the RME audio interface. But really, this is only because I also record music at home. Keeping in mind that given the internet bandwidth being used in a Zoom session, the difference in sound quality between a cheap USB microphone and a high quality mic it is hardly going to be perceivable. So don't feel like you need to splash out on any fancy equipment to get good results in your online lessons. So keep in mind the example that I just did before. I was actually using my nice quality microphone and the sound was still bad. So your settings have a huge impact on the sound to begin with. I hope this helps demystify some of the problems you may have experienced with Zoom sound. I promise, it's really not as bad as you think. Don't let any preconceived notions that you may have hold you back from being guided in your singing journey. If you'd like to book an online singing lesson with me, I'll leave a link in the description for you. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I will see you next Monday. Bye!